Good morning. Welcome to episode 4 of Sharon's Faith Corner. Thank you guys for being so welcoming and embracing of this project. I have just been overwhelmed by the comments I've been getting, and thank you for my new followers. And I'm very excited to do this one today. It's near and dear to my heart, and one I have felt impressed that I need to share with you. Um, I have a lot of, well, as a lot of you know, I work in the field of addiction, but also I have been sober. I'm coming up next month, 36 years, and I've just seen a lot of miracles. And I want to express to a lot of you the miracles that I think you are. One thing to remember is back in Jesus's day, they didn't have mug shots and all the things that, they didn't have the news like we have it today. There's there's a lot of you that have been on the news for being arrested for drug addicted stuff, or you've been on, you have your mug shots now that are seen on social media everywhere. Um, or, it's just at the drop of a finger, people can check you out. And I think that's really sad in a way. But I was wanting to give you all a word of encouragement and something that I have felt empowered and really impassioned to share with you today. One thing I wanted to let you know is that kind of just imagine this. Christ himself was tried, he was convicted, and there was all the crowd around him screaming to crucify him, crucify him. And so the decision is made to crucify him. And so while he is on the cross, there's some beautiful things that I think that are happening that have always touched me about the story of the crucifixion. And one of the things that he did is he looked to the left and he looked to the right. And he saw two people, those thieves on the cross, that he could minister to even while in his suffering. And we can all minister to people even while in our suffering. And he told them that they would be with him in paradise today, and comforted them when they needed comfort, which I see a lot of people in the thick of great suffering still comforting. And what a great example of Christ you are when you do that. The other thing that was happening at the time is that our people are screaming and really glorifying him being crucified. And there's also his family and his followers that are also very sad about his crucifixion. And so one of the stories is, of course, he is praying and telling Father, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And showing love and compassion to those that are hurting them. And we can all show love and compassion to people who hurt us, because that's what we do when we choose to follow Christ. And 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 I think that that's just such a powerful, beautiful moment that he did that. Well, okay, we move on a little bit. He is now crucified. He's now passed away. He's given up the ghost. And now 3 days later, he comes back. Miraculously, he comes back 3 days later, as he promised everyone he would. And when he comes back, he has the nail prints in his hands and in his feet, and the scar on his side from the spear, showing that he is the Christ. And when he comes back, he goes to his followers again and lets them know that he is risen. And then the cool thing about him, this part of the story, is when he rises again, it wasn't just him. He opens the graves and resurrects other people. And even though it doesn't say it for sure, I really believe that some of those people that were resurrected that day were some of the relatives of the people who were screaming to crucify him. And I think he did that as an act to show that he loves them, but also that he is the Christ, and showed them in a way that only that way they could see. And I think that's so awesome that he did that. And so, anyway, then even with all the nail prints on his hands and his feet and his spear in his side, all the scars showing that he's the Christ, he tells his disciples, "If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep." And I think that's so beautiful. And we all have nail prints in a way. We have our own scars. We have our own wounds that we have survived or still are surviving. And yet, you are now the mighty miracle that God needs to go change lives. And so it really doesn't matter if you have a mugshot or had a video on the news of an arrest or anything like that, because you are even more needed to show the mighty miracle God is doing in your life and how he is now using you to go create miracles in other people's lives. Anyway, I'm honored to know so many of those people that Jesus touched, and I'm hoping and asking that maybe you just open your heart and allow him to touch you, because we're in a world where your story matters and you're needed. And so anyway, I hope that you can feel Jesus's forgiving power for anything that might have happened in the past. But right now, in the big book of AA, it says, as God's people, we stand on our feet. And now it's time to stand on your feet and move forward and know that you are loved. Anyway, I really felt like I needed to share all that with you today. I also want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Sims Motorcycle Monkeys. I just think they're a wonderful redemption story. And I think a lot of you have a lot of wonderful redemption stories. Anyway, well, thanks for sharing the morning with me, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.